Okay. Uh, by the looks of it, I think we're ready to go. Ooh. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Fae Speaks and the release party of Into the Fae Woods. We are doing, I think we're on our sixth, seventh, or eighth part. I don't know. I've just been posting mini interviews and readings as we go. And then today we have Michael Guzman, and he is definitely a very creative, wonderful person to read. So, welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you for having me. And thanks for the sweet introduction. You're going to make me blush.
Well, I am definitely a big fan. I have loved your stories, and I keep finding new things to love in your stories. And I hope to make new ads for them soon. I'm going to go back through all the anthologies and make sure there's a Friday's Fractures, a little mini video telling about the story, and new graphics. But that'll take time, and we'll get there sooner or later. But
Okay.
either way, we're going to do this today. And the book came out on the 30th of June. And we're only like 3 days into the book release. How do you feel about having a new title in your bibliography?
It feels great just because I didn't do anything at all the entirety of 2025. And because things got so busy, I was worried that I lost my drive and wouldn't be able to do this anymore. But then when this um, new anthology, Fae Woods, came out and the theme was picked of fairy tales with a twist, I knew I had the perfect idea because it's been in my head for a while. So I wanted to get it out there, and it rekindled my writing. Plus, also for the first time, I'm publishing poetry, so I hope people like
Yes,
that because that's very very new territory to me. Because I used to just not like poetry in general. So,
dude. I hope you write more poetry. I hope we get to see more poetry.
well, we'll see what happens. I know there's another one coming out this fall. It's gonna be pirate themed. I'll hope to have something for it then, depending on how busy I am this month.
I hope you do too, because you got a whole lot going on. And I can honestly say, with your day job, I appreciate what you do. And if you don't want to say what it is on air, you don't have to, but I still appreciate the men and women who do that job. But, anyways, I'm really proud of this anthology. My son was published for the first time, he has art in it. And my daughter was published for like the fourth or fifth time in it as well. Her art as well.
I'm proud of it too. I was glad to see all that new art and stuff. It's,
And so many great friends. Finally got to be in another anthology with you. That makes me happy.
just makes me happy to be back. Like I said, I was gone for a whole year because mostly time constraints. Sometimes I'd have an idea and I just didn't get it out in time.
So tell me about the night and Baba Yaga.
Okay, this I don't know if I should. I'm gonna do a reading anyways. I don't want to spoil the twist at the end for those who may be watching and listening for the first time. But Number one, Baba Yaga is a classic being in Slavic mythology. She's considered like a powerful witch or a fairy or something like that. And she's in a lot of old stories and popular culture. So I thought she was the perfect character to use for this story. And the idea that I had in my head a long time ago, I set up as a joke in our group or as a prompt, basically asking why a certain character existed in this classic fairy tale. Because everyone just accepts everything as is, like, oh, it's a fairy tale. Of course, so and so would be there. But I wanted to dive deeper and, like, what is this character's relationship to the protagonist or some of the other secondary characters? Why did they come when they were needed the most? What past relationship did they have with the protagonist that honestly was never explored in any version I've heard? So wanted to write that.
And I want to add that this is in no way, shape, or form connected to the amazing singer Baba Yaga. She is her own thing. We is our own thing, and I recommend reading his stuff and listening to her stuff.
Okay. Uh, I'm not too good on pop culture music. I was unaware there was a singer by that name.
Oh, dude, she keeps popping up in my feed because I searched Baba Yaga because it's linked to so many other things, and I was looking up the lore. Also, you can find the name Baba Yaga linked to the new Keanu Reeves movies.
Yes, I kind of
The
threw a little shade at that too. If
so
you when she introduces herself.
exactly. So I recommend, dude. Baba Yaga is such a wonderful character to explore in all the realms of the story. So tell us about what has been the your favorite part about writing that story. Sorry, my brain jumbled.
You're fine. Um, favorite part, like I said, some of the lore about this character about Baba Yaga is very interesting because a lot of the stories she's a villain. In other stories, she helps a hero out. So I'm like the knight, the knight character, which I deliberately left unnamed just because of who they're related to, and I don't think this character had a name in the original story, anyways, other than the relation to the character. But he also heard the stories of she could be good, she could be bad, but she is his only hope to deal with a very personal problem, and he is desperately hoping that he can catch her on a good day.
Which one of all the characters in the story was your favorite?
I mean, I like the. I definitely connected a lot with the knight just because the problem he seeks help with is similar to something I'm going through now, also.
Okay, yeah,
In a way, secondarily, yes. And I think it is a
understandable.
problem, like back in medieval or Renaissance era, whenever the story's supposed to take place. Something like that would be devastating to a family, especially one of noble standing. Like all knights were considered nobles, and even in modern day, the issue he faces can really hurt a family. Even with all our modern conveniences and advances, it still happens.
Yeah, because it took me literal years to be able to actually have my first one. So, either way,
Mhm.
how about without further ado, you do your reading and I'll
Give me a
still
second to pull it up.
and I'm going to sit back and enjoy it. And then later I will cut it down so people can just find the reading. So,
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready if you are, sir.
Okay. Here's my water. With one, because I don't read out loud that often, so It was a long journey for the former knight. Weeks of travel from the safety of his home in the city, but if the rumors and even legends were true, this would all be worth it. The sky was overcast before he entered the forest, but even taking that into account, the woods felt darker than they seemed. In retrospect, he felt he shouldn't have gone on this quest alone, even though the goal was a very personal one he would have felt ashamed to share with a traveling companion. Deeper into the woods he went, his ears open for any sounds that didn't belong. The usual sounds of insects buzzing and birds chirping filled the air for now, but a new sound broke through the ubiquitous noise. It was the sound of a large beast trampling through the undergrowth. Though the former knight came unarmored, he did not come unarmed, and reached for his sword as what appeared to be an exceptionally large buck crashed through the brush. It let out an ear-piercing cry as it lowered its head and charged towards the knight. He quickly dodged out of its path with a tumble, and when he turned to face the buck, he noticed its horns had an unnatural number of branches to them and were exceptionally long. Plus, there was a fire in his eyes that radiated hatred. Feeling lucky that he managed to avoid its first attack, he didn't want to wait for it to try again, and drew a knife as well and tossed it at one of the buck's front legs. It cried out again, in pain this time, as it once again lowered its head to charge. Hindered by the blade embedded in its leg, though, it was severely slowed and couldn't move in a straight line. It tumbled to the ground in its attempt, and only then did the knight feel confident enough to approach the unearthly creature, and with one swift stroke of his sword, slice the beast deep across its neck, watching as the evil fire in its gaze dimmed, then died. The knight cleaned his blades, gasping for air as he finished and sheathed them. In the rumors of this forest, he had never heard of anything like this happening. He decided to follow the trail of trodden bush to find the creature's origin. It was near evening as he found a clearing. Looking around, the knight saw that the trail continued towards a northerly direction, but decided to settle down while it was relatively safe. After his campfire was lit and he was warming up, the knight heard a creaking and rustling sound coming towards him. He rapidly got to his feet, drawing his sword once again, preparing for the worst. What came through was unbelievable, even though it was exactly the reason he came here. It was a large hut, and at each corner a gigantic bird's foot protruded, allowing the hut to walk at a deceptively easy pace as it creaked with unknown age. It stopped right in front of him, and the knight quickly sheathed his weapons, hoping he hadn't already offended its rumored occupant. There was an open window on one side of the hut, and floating out of it was, of all things, a stone mortar. From what he heard, the knight was expecting it to be oversized, large enough to hold a person, not one that seemed so ordinary in size and appearance. Even stranger was the tiny person that sat in the mortar and rested a pestle over their shoulder. As they approached, the knight got a good look at her. From rumors and stories, he was expecting a hideous, hag-like creature, but she looked more like a kindly grandmother, who, other than her diminutive size, seemed as ordinary and not ordinary as the object upon which she rode. The mortar floated towards the knight at eye level, and he quickly took a knee in a gesture which he hoped would convey respect and peaceful intentions. My lady, are you the one they call Baba Yaga? He asked. Well, aren't you the polite one? And barely a trace of fear upon you, the strange tiny woman said with a smile as her mortar floated around the knight in a slow circle, allowing her to take measure of him, gently poking him with her pestle as she spoke. Most would flee at the sight of me or my home. A few might want to even try to attack me on sight, but not you. I sense a great urgency in you. Ah, you seek a favor from me. Yes, I am she, the one they call Baba Yaga, the witch, the fairy, the hag, the boogeyman. I particularly hate that one. I am a woman, after all. She then took her pestle and sniffed it. Though this behavior was strange, the knight dare not speak, at least not until he was directly addressed. I smell death around you, sir. Very recently, to be sure. Baba Yaga floated directly in front of the knight and used her pestle to lift his chin so she could look directly into his eyes. Tell me what has occurred, she said firmly. The knight suddenly felt his fear return at recalling the strange buck that attacked him. It was as strange as Baba Yaga herself. What if it was hers? How would she react to his slaying of it? The look in her eyes already told him lying would be a waste of time. So if he would face a terrible fate at this creature's hands, he would at least do it honestly. My lady, there was a deer, a buck. It attacked me out of nowhere, but it was strange. Its horns were too big, and its eyes, they had a terrible fire to them. I never thought an animal capable of hatred until I saw that. I had to defend myself. I slew it, then retraced its steps until I reached here. Then you arrived, the knight explained. The best, Baba Yaga whispered. You killed it successfully. I wouldn't have believed it myself if I didn't smell the stench of recent death around you. The what? The knight asked in confusion. A demon of hatred and anger. It possesses people or animals that are experiencing great fury themselves and feeds upon their rage until that's all the victim feels. The buck's exceptional horns are a side effect. It's been terrorizing these woods for months. I was working on a way to deal with it myself and was slowly tracking it, but it seems you did me a great favor, sir. I wouldn't have been able to stop it without great risk to myself, so thank you. Does does this mean you'll hear my request? The knight asked. Yes, and if it is within my power, I will do all I can to aid you, Baba Yaga nodded. Now that the time came to tell her the purpose of his visit, the knight struggled to find his words. Facing the demon possessed buck seemed less terrifying than potentially admitting his true fear. My lady, please be patient. This is difficult to say. Baba Yaga just looked at the knight with a kindly smile, then took her pistol and smacked his forehead firmly. What was that for? He protested, rubbing the sore spot, wincing in pain. My time is precious. I'd appreciate you being direct and honest. Hopefully that helped, she continued to smile. Fine. It's my wife, he started. We've been married for 2 years, and I love her very much, but we haven't been able to have a child. It's not that just it's expected of us. We really do want this. All the alchemists and physicians we've seen have been unable to help. I fear she may be barren, and for the sake of my family line, not to mention the pressures from the rest of the court, I may be forced to abandon her for another. I was told many stories about you, most of them terrible, but in some, it is known that you have helped a select few in the past. I am pleading on your sense of benevolence. Can you help me? Excuse me a moment. Baba Yaga looked into the knight's eyes. Terrible stories, she scoffed. Let me guess. Kidnapping and eating children, right? And yet you seek my help in conceiving one. Are you sure that's wise? As I said, the usual wisdom failed us already. This is desperation, he replied honestly. Is there something else you would ask in return? He offered. Baba Yaga looked in thought for a few moments that seemed to stretch into an eternity as the night waited. Name me the child's godmother, Baba Yaga concluded. Yes, I think that will do nicely. I have measured you to be a person of honor and goodness. I expect your child to be the same. Our bond will eventually benefit us both. In what way? The knight asked. You have done something great here today, but I foresee your child may be even greater than you one day, and in the hour of their greatest need, I can aid them, and in so doing, become an integral part of their story. And perhaps when people think of me, they won't think of the hideous monster that devours children, but the woman who used her power compassionately to help someone achieve their dream. My child will be greater than me? The knight felt a swell of hope rise within him for the first time in a long time. Yes, they will, Baba Yaga nodded, then gestured toward the inside of her hut. Now come inside so I can give you what you need. With that, she floated back into the window she came from, while the knight headed for an open door. The legs of the hut bent down as far as they could in order to make it easier for him to climb in. Once inside, he looked around in surprise. Where on the outside the hut looked old and decrepit, the interior looked as if it was recently built. It was clean and well lit, and there were a few small animals wandering around, as well as plants of various kinds growing from pots along one of the walls. Another wall had a shelf with several bottles, and next to it a cauldron over a fire, an unknown liquid bubbling within. As the knight looked towards the window where Baba Yaga floated in, he saw the water laying on the table and the small witch hop out. Then she jumped from the side of the table and grew as she did so, reaching a more normal human size. She looked toward the shelf of the potions. Now, which ones do we need? She thought out loud. Then pulled down two bottles, one with a blue liquid, another with a red liquid. Okay, you'll need both of these. The blue potion is for you, the red for your wife, Baba Yaga explained. Before the next time you lie together, you each need to take your potion, then it guarantees you will have a child. I need one of the potions? The knight was confused. Yes, you silly man, Baba Yaga admonished. In all your searching for answers, did it not occur to you that the one who is sterile is you and not your wife? As you came alone, I can't examine her to be sure, but that is always a possibility, so the potions will guarantee fertility in both of you with no risks. The thought that the problem was with him, indeed, never occurred to the knight. He always wanted to project strength and confidence to those around him and to himself. He paled at the thought if he truly was the reason why his wife had yet to bear him a child, and if that were to become known, how humiliated he would be. Don't worry, no one will have to know either way. Baba Yaga shook her head, almost as if she was able to read his thoughts. Just follow my instructions, and your family problems will be over and your reputation secured. Even the best of men have issues with their pride. Just remember your better self and wish your child to be the best version of themselves as well, and you can go with my blessings. She then took the potions and put them in a small satchel, handing it to the knight. Thank you, Baba Yaga. I will always remember this kindness and your lesson. You will be a worthy godmother to my child. The knight took the satchel and soon departed. A good man, a decent man, but still a man, Baba Yaga mused to herself after her guests left. It was easier to be vague about which of them were sterile. It was true that I didn't have the chance to examine the wife, but I know for sure he definitely was. 18 years later, the young maiden was absolutely devastated, crying on the ground in the fetal position in torn rags. Soot and mud caked on any skin that was exposed. She never cursed the injustice the world had dealt her out loud, not even after the death of her beloved father. She never knew her true mother as she died in childbirth, but the woman who replaced her in the home was truly awful to her, and she never knew what she could have done to cause offense. Her sisters were no better. But tonight, despite the few teachings she remembered from her late father on kindness and grace while enduring life's hardships, she was ready to demand to heaven itself why she needed to suffer so. Her sobs were cut short by the sounds of rustling and creaking. Startled, she scrambled backwards until she hit a bush and leaned against it, frightened that some vicious animal would come to devour her. But even more frightening was the dilapidated hut that was walking towards her on gigantic bird's feet. It stopped when it got close, and the lake bent down as far as it could, and out of an open window a mortar flitted towards her. The maiden looked in shock and confusion. Come now, child, a calm, tiny woman called out to her from inside the mortar. It was my hope that your father would have told you about me. Did he not? Don't you know you have nothing to fear from me? She poked the maiden gently in the forehead with a pestle. The maiden suddenly recalled, when she was so much younger, her favorite bedtime story, one about her father braving a long journey, fighting a monster, and finding a mysterious woman that some thought a monster, some thought a savior. Now that woman helped her father, and somehow that resulted in the maiden's birth. She forgot that story and similar ones soon after her father died, and her stepmother started to force extra chores on her for believing in such nonsense, and hoped to work such fanciful notions out of her head. That was when the cruelty started. I thought you were just a story, the maiden said softly, touching her own lips with one hand and reaching out towards Baba Yaga with the other. Godmother? That's right, my dear, Baba Yaga replied with a gentle smile. I promised your father I'd come and help you in your greatest hour of need, so here I am. Now come inside and tell me everything. We'll get you cleaned up and changed while we're at it, and you'll surprise everyone. I promise you, this night will make everything worth it. The maiden told her godmother her story over the next hour, while the kind elder fairy helped her bathe, style her hair, and then dressed her in the finest gown in her collection. The maiden looked at her reflection in a mirror at all. She thought that a stranger was looking back at her. She never thought she looked so beautiful. Step outside, dear. I have another surprise for you, Baba Yaga smiled. When the maiden did as instructed, she was followed by half a dozen mice that were wandering around the hut earlier. Then the hut started to change, the legs becoming wheels, the hut itself becoming smaller, newer, and cleaner until it was a fancy carriage, and the mice grew in size and changed in shape to become magnificent horses. Baba Yaga emerged, floated to the top, and took the reins that suddenly appeared. Now step back inside, dear. We have a ball to get you to.
I
And that
love
was the
that. I love the mix. And also, hi, Carrie!
hello,
Okay,
Carrie.
before I continue, Carrie is her story was the very first one accepted in the whole anthology because as soon as I heard it and I found out I was on the team of people helping to pick the stories, I'm like, if you don't accept Carrie's, I cannot be part of this anthology. She's like, okay, we accept Carrie's.
I loved your story, Michael. Mine picks up about 12 hours after yours ends, actually.
That's why this is going to be perfect. This is going to be absolutely perfect in the way it's going to be read. Because mine's going to come last, so it's a chrono. Mine has nothing to do with their stories; it's totally different fairy tale. But this is perfect. This is gorgeous. I love the twist he gave it. I love the ending, and I love how you bippity boppity booed the whole entire thing into beauty.
Oh, and I love Baba Yaga stories. She is awesome. Just,
Yeah. Basically, this came from the idea: why does Cinderella have a fairy godmother to begin with? A godparent is usually a very close friend of your parents. So, what did her parents do to get the attention of a fairy and become close enough to where she would actually help out Cinderella when she needed it? That was the idea. I'm like, godparents are special people. What did Cinderella's biological parents do to warrant something so wonderful? So I'm like,
that's a
It's
great
beautiful.
idea.
maybe they did her a favor a while back and she's returning the favor because fairies always trade in favors.
Not usually to your benefit, but in her case, it worked out pretty well.
That's why I said like it depends on the story, which stories you believe about her. She could be good, she could be bad.
Yeah, I loved it. That was great, Michael.
Thank you.
And I hope your personal problem that is related to the story gets a happy ending.
It does not just because it's something that we've tried a long time ago. We accepted it's never going to happen, and recent medical issues
Okay,
basically definitely assured that it's never going to happen.
fine then.
Okay.
I hope that your marriage is happy, 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 no matter what
Hmm.
then.
Yeah, we do have our cat, so it's still okay.
Fur baby!
Yep.
Okay, Carrie's. Yeah, like she said, it takes it begins 12 hours after, and once you hear it, if you haven't already listened to it every time I've shared it, you will find out a why being a fairy tale person my whole entire life. As soon as I heard her story, I'm like, no, she either is part of the anthology or I'm walking away.
I don't think we've ever had a problem with needing to accept people. Or,
No, but some don't always fit the theme, so they get put in a later book because they
that
fit
makes
that
sense.
theme. But this one fit.
Hmm.
And I am sorry I was late. I have a sleeping disorder thing going on, and I've been working on it. But like, I woke up and was going on and saw this link, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And yeah, so I just hurried up and got ready. So sorry I was
Who's your?
late.
It's fine. There's no problems. I figured hopefully somebody would show up, and I have two questions before you get started. Who's your favorite character?
Are you asking me?
In all
Her
of
Oh,
in
her.
our
Okay.
in my story or in all of Fairyland, Fairy
in
Tale
your
Land.
story.
Well, there's not many people in my story, so I would have to say the detective. Yeah, hold
Okay.
on. So,
And
because
okay, and
yeah, the other
fascinating.
there's really two characters, and the other one's kind of a doofus.
Yeah. How did you decide to set it up?
I was just reading through some writing prompts and trying to get some flow so I could get my writing so I get my voice back in writing some stuff because I
Mhm.
write so much that's like kind of a dark gothic sort of feel, and I wanted to see if I could pull up a brighter sort of voice for myself. So this is my I love fairy tales, and I wanted to give the prompt was just basically set your fairy tale in a different type of setting and see what you can do with it. So I was like, this sounds like fun, you know? I, I like writing stories about video games, like the NPCs and stuff, and
Mm.
so I thought writing um, different sides of fairy tales would be a fun way to follow up with that. So,
Okay, great. So, whenever you're ready.
all right, guys, this is a fairy tale about. Well, it's a story about a fairy tale private eye. You see Hans show up pretty much everywhere. Sometimes he's clever Hans, sometimes he's loyal Hans, sometimes Hans isn't very bright. In this case, he is Detective Hans, and he is very shrewd. So let us begin. So let me get this straight. You danced with a girl all night at a ball that the whole kingdom was invited you to, and neither you nor anyone else there, including your palace guards, got so much as a name, where she was from, or what she does. You also, though it wasn't a masked ball, and you spent the entire evening just with her, cannot provide any description of her outside of her clothing. The only thing you have to go by is what she is that when she ran away from you, she was in so much of a hurry that she lost one of her shoes, a shoe made of glass. And you didn't bother to get a list of who remained after she left to eliminate anyone else in the kingdom? Is this correct? Detective Hans stared up from his notes at the prince. Um, yeah, I think that about covers it. But she is the one. I really need you to find her. She was perfect. I must marry her, Prince Charming insisted. You must marry someone that you know nothing about other than her fashion sense. Hans wiped a hand over his face. You do realize that there are probably hundreds of girls who will be able to fit themselves into this shoe, so your idea of going door to door simply won't work unless you're willing to settle for the first girl who can wear it, right? I think my granny might be a good fit. Well, I mean, I'm sure I'll know her when I see her face again in the shoe. She and I are meant to be. If you're meant to be, what color were her eyes? Was she a blonde, brunette, redhead? Any clue as to how tall she was? For Grimm's sake, man! You had her in your arms for hours. What in the hell did you talk about? We didn't really talk much. We just danced, and I gazed into her eyes, all romantic like. The same eyes you can't tell me the color of. I, yeah, they were really pretty, though. She was the most beautiful girl at the ball. Yes, I got that multiple times. So, will you help me find her? Pled the prince. Mum's in a bit of a tizzy that I lost her before I got her name. I'm getting a lecture on my manners, and she's making me retake all of my etiquette lessons again from when I was growing up. Pardon me. Can't you just throw another ball and see if she shows up? Should be rather easy. There can't be too many girls showing up with one glass shoe after all. Then again, perhaps there was a reason why she was running away to begin with. Were you copying a feel or something? I don't want to help this girl get trapped into something she doesn't want. No! I mean, my hand might have slipped once or twice, but I was never really good at the fancier dances. I was just keeping my balance. Another waltz was about to start, and she looked up at the clock and said, "Oh dear, look at the time. I really must be leaving." And then she just took off, running into the night. Another ball goes, what if she just buys new shoes? If she bought new shoes, wouldn't you still be able to identify the most beautiful girl at the ball? Even if you can't recall a single feature for a sketch artist, there must have been something that would grab your attention. If not, You might find another pretty girl. Your standards don't seem to be too high, to be honest. Hans shook his head. Royalty. He didn't get paid enough for this. Well, I suppose Mom does love throwing a ball. I'm sure she'll show up. After all, she would get to spend the entire night with me again, and then her life as well. I can't imagine her not coming to a second one. Prince Charming slowly nodded to himself. Yes, I believe that is an excellent idea, and this time I shall be sure to ask her name. Wonderful. Now, head on back to the palace like a good prince, and tell your mummy to get cracking on a new ball. I've got a couple of missing children to find, and frankly, they're more important than your love life. Hans shoved the prince out the door and opened up the file on his desk about the children who had gone missing in the dark wood. A young brother and sister. He suspected foul play, but it was difficult to prove in these cases. He thought about sending the woodcutter, a vigilante in the area, a tip about them. He'd done a great job on the Red Riding Hood case. Hans pulled out a parchment and began penning a missive to him immediately. The end.
Oh
So,
my god, that
yeah,
was so hilarious.
I I always wondered why he could, you need to use a glass slipper. I have to, if you can fit into this shoe, there aren't that many shoe sizes.
Unless she had
No,
the gift of unusual foot size.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is in the original story, in order to try to pretend, the stepsisters cut off part of their feet.
I were
You know, yeah,
I,
and were bleeding. It's like, wouldn't
like
you notice?
one cut off her toes and another chopped at their heel.
Yeah, like no,
Also,
I'm not
I
really.
also like the twist about the detective suggesting extra balls to find her because I've heard in like some versions there were multiple balls, not just the one. Like
Yeah,
two or
depending
three
on
before he finally tried to find her.
yeah, depending on the different stories, they aren't always all there's they open up the walnuts and they have the different dresses, and like one glows as bright as the sun, one glows as bright as the moon, and the other is this it's the stars. They're all different colored dresses that she gets dressed up in and stuff. So it's fairy tales are so much fun. I keep Grimm's everywhere, and I read them to everybody I know when I can narrate them. They're just a great time.
I look
Bluebeard is
forward.
my favorite story.
Ooh, I look forward to if you actually write the other ones. That would be
I,
amazing.
I like the idea of this hard-boiled detective going through fairy tale land trying to solve all the crimes
I gotta see. I somewhere
and
there was
friends with the
a.
woodcutter.
Oh yeah, I think that would be so much fun. There was something. The Reddit "Am I the asshole" stories
Hmm.
that people put up.
Yeah,
Some somebody had a prompt one time that was post up a fairy tale from the perspective of "Am I the asshole?" So you put the thing in, write out what the whole story was in like basically bro speak, and then finish it with a TLDR. And I did Bluebeard in that format. It was a lot of fun, but like people are like, "What story is that?" Like apparently it's not. Though it's my favorite, it's not everybody knows about it. They think the kind of very very Disney insular thoughts as far as what fairy tales count. I think these days. So
C.M. Haynes is the only other author that have found recently that has done a Bluebeard retelling, and I can't remember the name, but I do recommend anybody who would like to find out her stuff to go check it out. But it's a romance novel, so my romance girlies and guys would love it.
I might have to look up Bluebeard in general. I don't think I've heard of that one.
oh, Bluebeard is the one where he gets his wife and has like I'm leaving the palace, I'm going somewhere. Here are the keys to every room. Don't go into this room. And then like she goes into that room because
And bad things happen.
yes, yes, there's a lot of blood involved, and then she like tries to hide it from her husband, and her hand is stained with blood, so he knows that she went into the room and disobeyed the only order that he ever gave her. So it's a terrible tale. I told my little one that when she was like 4 or 5, I had all these little puppets and we were playing at a coffee house, and it, I told her the tale of Blueberry, and these people were like sitting there staring at me, and they're like, "That is violent as. Why are you like telling this little kid that?" And I'm like, "Oh, just wait." And then she picked up the puppets and was going to tell me a story, and she was making it up herself. And she invented sirens in her own mind. She took the mermaid, and then she had like the penguin and something else, and she had the mermaid, and she's like, and the mermaid was out singing, and it made the penguin want to go and see her, and so he couldn't get away, and then she killed him and ate all this stuff, and I was just like, that's the kid. Yep, that right there. That one's mine. And they were like, "Did you teach her that?" I'm like, "No, she just made that up on her own. That's the way her brain works." So yeah,
That is so much fun, and I love that.
yeah. Growing up was fun. I have a lot of different copies of Grimm's fairy tales too. I used to read them to the. I babysat my little neighbor girl for a while, and we took. You know how I have all these boxes? We like made a big castle and everything, and used all the puppets with those too. So that was great. So Jenny, Friday, are we gonna hear your story?
Well, I'm going to read the poem because the story is a decent length. It's one of the longest things I've ever written. So
Oh,
I figured I would go with Saving Wonderland. Hold on one.
okay.
Okay, I suppose I should do the thing where I'm big.
Be big. Yes.
Okay, now you see my ghosty.
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
do. Saving Wonderland. She followed the rabbit down the hole full of curious things. All the coverings of the wall. She floated down. They softly hit the ground. He changed before her eyes from rabbit to man, tall, human-shaped with floppy bunny ears, absolutely handsome, a man of dreams. He asked her to save Wonderland. Unsure, she agrees. The journey out of the hole as they go. Two men appear, so unlike the cartoon of old, Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Not what they were said to be, intelligent and strong, like they have worked to gain skill and strength. They have a plan, they have hundreds. People tired, the queen has gone way too far. She listens, still unsure, she agrees. They are ready to go with the supplies the twins have. She can help them save Wonderland. The determined travelers tell the family members and friends. Shortened by a head. Those forced magically to become the card guards, the taxation, all that has been stolen. They hear a rustle from above, the cat, purple, with darker purple stripes, changed in front of their eyes to a human form, not furry, except his ears and tail. She knows he is up to something. She doesn't know what but she believes. It will be fun. He guides them with the promise of food and drink and a plan that will actually do the job. This time, they find them sitting in a clearing, having tea. The travelers join them. They sit around the round table, the tablecloth covered in colorful eggprint, the hatter and the hare sharing tea and snacks. Have talked and planned and agree. Tweedles and Cat, Rabbit and Alice agreed as well. The hare in his furry form can talk the walkie, the prize pet of the queen. All can see is not happy and no longer content into letting go and giving into his deepest desire. They use the wardrobe the hatter and the hare have amassed. come up with false names, go in their new costumes, or in animals' forms as needed. They make their way into the castle, not willing to let the hare do this alone. They were ready to fight, to keep the queen's attention. They cause a scene. It enrages her as the tables tip, the nobles scurry in fear. Surrounded by the cards, Alice sees one is a cousin who everyone thought ran away. The queen screaming about making them shorter. A miraculous thing happens. Walkie the dragon had more than enough. The hair in his ear said all true things. He couldn't take it anymore. He is bigger than the blood-headed, torturous thing. The constant meals were good. Yes. The chains and the mean things said by all those around him were more than enough. He found with one bite, he ate half of her. Some ran in fear, the rest cheered. With the guards spell broken, they unchained him and let go. He flew home, relieved he was free. She stood in a world she did not belong to. She and the cousin found more with the new friends than the world they came from. They felt more at home than ever before. They say they can stay. They want her. They want him, a set of twins. A rabbit, a cat, a rabbit and hare. A Mad Hatter to show them what this world has to offer. Okay. I said go down. There it goes. Hi, beautiful peoples. What do you
Hello.
think? You're still muted.
I was congratulating you and telling you how much I liked it and stuff. No, I love Alice, and I think you did a really good job.
Thank you. It was please continue.
No, go on. I was yeah. I loved hearing that. That was great.
It was a mix of C.M. Student's trilogy and the original two books. Well, the original first book. And it came together and crashed into a poem.
That's a good. Yeah, I'm not much of a poet, so I'm not. My I was one of those like, oh, I love Emily Dickinson. Poems should always be depressing.
Oh
So
yeah.
I didn't get over that. I had the like, if I'm gonna tell a poem, it's gonna be angst ridden.
Dude, her poem actually started Sage's stories. I could not wait for death, so he kindly stopped for me. I don't know if you remember that story where he comes and takes her mom and her grandpa helps guide her mom to the afterlife.
Can't remember, but
That
I
sounds
like it.
similar
It
to
sounds
your other story, which I really love.
Which one?
Didn't you write the can't remember the title now. The Beauty and the Beast sequel, basically.
Oh yeah, no, it's the same death character. I have a series now that I apparently am writing of where he comes and helps people transition to the afterlife.
nice.
Ah, maybe you should make that into its own collection then.
I am already working on that. I've already started. I've transferred all of them that have him in it to its own document, but also they're scattered. All the ones that are like linked to other characters, they're scattered in those as well.
I need to have you send me stuff because I'm behind in reading. I'm behind in reading everything right now. I
Did you
have
already get your PDF of this book?
um probably somewhere. I have to dig through. I've been grabbing everything and loading it because I've been getting like I've been doing a bunch of Kickstarter things too, and I just have like I'll get 30 PDFs at a time, and so I'm trying to keep things organized. But I've found that I'm putting some in the wrong places, but I will check
Okay.
after this is done and uh
Okay.
see.
Yeah, make sure
There's
you get
some
the updated one.
there's some real
Okay.
bangers in this collection.
I'm excited. The other day, okay, this is how stupid I am when it comes to these things and keeping track of what's going on. Like 2 days ago, or might have even been yesterday, one of my friends like hopped in and was like, "Hey, if you have a new anthology," I'm like, "I do."
You just realized.
No, I knew it was coming out. I just didn't realize. I wasn't sure of the date because I've been like, I'm not trying to be ignorant, but I've
Well,
had so many things going on, and it's not just show stuff. I've got a lot of family stuff going on as well, so I
it,
haven't been keeping track of anything.
it
Um,
doesn't
yeah,
help that we had to push it back by a month for other medical reasons of
yeah.
needed to be taken care of.
Oh, I did find that Bluebeard story. If you wanna, it's less than a page long. If you wanna hear it.
Oh yes, please do. Here, I'll
Okay.
put you up.
All right. I was wrong, by the way. It wasn't an "Am I the asshole?" It was a "Today I fucked up." So there was a prompt on Reddit that was a well-known fairy tale told from the villain's perspective in "Today I fucked up" form, but you still have to have the TLDR at the end. So today I fucked up by letting my wife pray before I was going to punish her. I should know better, I suppose. It's not as if she's my first wife. I think I'm asking too much, really. I'm a freaking king. I consider myself a 7 out of 10, just a genetic fluke of hair coloring away from a 10/10. All I really want is a hot wife that's willing to obey me. Christ, she doesn't even have to cook or clean. Just stay out of my man cave. Is that really too much to ask in exchange for anything else she could possibly want? Little backstory. One of my bros told me about this sizzling little thing living with her dad and brothers off in the woods. Being recently single, again, I decided to go check her out. She was smoking. So I asked her dad if I can marry her. I'm not one for drawn out courtships, and he happily agrees. Her brothers all make a big deal about her leaving, and she hangs out with them for a little while, blubbering away about missing them, then finally hops into the carriage and off we go to the castle. She loves it here. Why wouldn't she? Servants do all of the work. She's got the best food and all of the clothes and other girly things she could ever want. Things are great for the first month. Then I have to go off on a trip, doing some king stuff. So I give her all of the keys to the place. We keep things locked so the servants don't get sticky fingered with the jewels and such. And I tell her the only room she can't go into is my man cave. That's it. I don't think that's asking too much. Anyway, I get home and ask for the keys, and he's acting all sketchy about it and treating me weird. Now, I had a magician help me out with that key back in the day. If anyone besides me actually uses it, it leaves a mark on him, and it changes color itself. The wifey poo suddenly has an affinity for wearing gloves, and so she lost the keys. Right. I pulled off the gloves and caught her red-handed, so to speak. Knowing that she had violated my trust and gone into my man cave, I had to punish her, like I did my previous wives. Nosy wenches, a lot of them. I just can't bear to be in a relationship without trust. Before I was going to dole out what she had coming to her, she asked if she could spend a bit of time in her room praying. I figured it couldn't hurt to give her 10 minutes. Before I know it, her brothers all come rushing in to save her ass. I guess she'd worked something out with them ahead of time and sent some signal from her room. They stabbed the shit out of me and locked me up in my man cave and then robbed me blind. It's hard to get good guards these days. Fortunately, there was a bit more magic involved with that room than they knew about. Otherwise, I wouldn't be writing this. Women, I tell ya. TLDR, bitches be crazy. So that was that one.
Okay, random question. Is that story the actual origin of the term red-handed?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Did it
Cause
actually turn the woman's hands red that she touched that
yeah,
key?
because basically in the original story, he's murdered all of his other wives, and they're all in that room. They're their remains, and so
Hmm.
the key bleeds and it stains the hand. So that could be. I don't know. I should look it up.
Real
Yes,
Henry VIII
please.
right there.
Yeah. Origin of red-handed. Um. Oh no, it's just for. It's a 15th century Scots term. It's a legal term, and it comes from a murderer, a poacher, or a cattle thief who is caught in the act with literal fresh blood staining their hands.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, so there you go. You got a twofer from me, even though the last one was really silly. But
Your
it
first one was really silly too, to be honest.
to be fair, yeah, it, not my normal, not my normal writing style. So there you go.
No. But I've been like in love with all your writing since the beginning. You both write in outside my normal reading genres completely. And you take it to you take the stories in a way that make you think, sit there and think afterwards.
Well, thank you. I yeah, I hope that's my goal if I tell a story is to make somebody I want to entertain, but I also want to have some sort of thought provoking thing in it. Maybe not the biggest in the world, I don't have to think of life, the universe and everything, but a little something to wonder.
I share that sentiment.
Even if it's just how did this hold up for this long without these people poking all these holes in it? I I did research on Rapunzel because I was like, how is that woman not just bruised to hell by having people climb up her hair? And they did in the old version. Somebody thought of that because, like, I have the original Grimm's fairy tales, and there are bars on her windows, but they wrap her hair around them a couple times first before lowering it down, so it isn't like yoinking her constantly off to the side to
Well,
let
that's
somebody climb
clever.
up her hair. Yeah, I because I was gonna say something about it, and then I read it. I'm like, oh, well, they covered that part, so I guess I don't need to write about it. No holes to poke in that story. Well,
So I think the next question I'm going to ask is what is y'all's most favorite fairy tale that you keep going back to?
Hmm. Well, kind of funny that like Cinderella was like my go-to when I was really little. Drove my parents crazy because apparently I watched the Disney version on a daily basis.
Okay.
Yeah. Modern day, I'd probably say I haven't written anything about it, but like one of my favorites is still probably Aladdin, just because
Awesome.
I like um the clever heroes. Like they use their brains to get out of their situations most of the time.
yeah.
What about you, Carrie?
Um, I okay. Bluebeard, obviously, like I said, is like one of my favorites. I don't know why I'm so drawn to that one. It's just like I think it's just the trust thing. Like, why can you not just do one thing? Everything would be fine if you can't do if you could just. But people's curiosity just drags on them. Um, but I think if we go, I'm a big, for those of you guys who don't know, I do a lot of comic stuff. And so much stuff recently is coming into the public domain, and movies and new books and things are all being made about it. And okay, the original Peter Pan book, like if you watch the Disney version, you get fed one thing. If you read the book, it's a bit different, and like Wendy is embarrassed for Peter because of how ridiculous he acts at times and things, and he's kind of, he's pouty and has to be he's that kid on the playground who has to have everything be about him. But they've been putting out some new stuff, and if you can get a chance to read it, Dan Panosian is doing a series called The Last Boy, and it's basically set in like Neverland. People have grown up except for Peter. He's still a kid, but like all of the Lost Boys are like they have wives and kids, and live in different areas, and things are advancing beyond what Neverland ever was. And he doesn't want to believe it. He wants everything to be, you know, how it was for him always. And it's just really incredible and kind of crushing in parts to see like him acting, all bravado and refusing to believe that he could, like, he hurts people and people never really got hurt before. And he's like, oh, they're just making it up. And then he finally, somebody like injures him while he's in a fight. And he's just like, that's not supposed to happen. What's going on? And he just wants to run away. But it's also showing at the same time what's going on with Wendy Darling back outside of Neverland. And it's a really great series. It's only like 5 issues, but I would say I love, like, I love other people's reinterpretations of some of the things that I wouldn't consider it a classic fairy tale, but it has the elements of one.
That is awesome.
Yeah, he's also doing Alice Ever After. So that's
Ooh,
an yeah. I'll send you some links from his stuff, but there are a lot of great people that are doing stuff. They have a group that's totally rewriting the Oz universe, and they had Cullen Bunn write the first volume, and Fred Van Lente is one of the writers on the second volume. It's great. Um, but they have a bunch of Oz historians that are like have come together to make sure that they are telling Oz properly. Like there's no, oh, let's do this. This would be cool. And it's like, nope, wasn't in the universe. Can't be used. Can't destroy things like that. You have to stay, completely canon. So
that is awesome. I keep going back to Beauty and the Beast, and I keep going back to Neverland. Not Neverland. No, Wonderland. I keep going back to Wonderland.
Here's a fun idea since we're bringing all that up. Conversation between Wendy, Alice, and Dorothy about the crazy places they've all been.
that would be
They
fun.
have pictures that people have drawn of them just sitting there smoking and drinking and just talking about all the things they've done, the grown-up versions of themselves, just sitting there having conversations about, man, I've seen some things.
It was seen the craziest thing between the three of them.
Oh yeah. That well, and Ozma, you have to get her in there too because she didn't even know she was a princess. She thought she was, well, she originally was a boy. Like, well, she was a girl, but then like Mombi kidnapped her and changed her into her servant boy, and then all of a sudden he escapes, and it's like, oh, I am a princess. Okay, so
Well, that's interesting.
yeah,
Dude, the series, original series, he wrote the first book and then he begrudgingly continued the series and tried his best to make people stop wanting to read it. The problem is all the children, all of them, no matter the atrocities put in there, how scary it is, because I do not want to be a porcelain doll living in that world. That just, oh my
no,
God. That series, and then the pumpkin guy. Oh my God.
Jack Pumpkinhead. Yep,
Yeah.
they. Oh, the Patchwork Girl is one of my favorites. And he's such a satirist. In the Patchwork Girl, let me look up. I want to get this quote right. Frank Baum Girl. What do you call those old timey record players? Gramophones?
Phonographs?
Yes.
Sorry, guys. This is really exciting watching me try to
It's fine.
search for something that I can't spell
Don't
right
let
because I'm
it burn
typing
in
one-handed.
here.
That's understandable because I have one of our artists over here inside the house making up a brand new story about a video game making characters out of blocks. Okay. He's just over here off in his own storyline, and I'm trying not to let that bleed in.
Okay, here we go. Um, it was there's the powder of life. There is how the patchwork girl comes to life. She's being made to be turned into the servant for someone, and they accidentally tip some of it onto a phonograph, and it's chasing them down the road, and they're like, "Ah, what is this horrible sound we have? What is it that you're doing? Just make it stop, make it stop!" And it's the latest popular song, declared the phonograph, speaking in a silky tone of voice. A popular song? Yes, one that the feeble-minded can remember the words of, and those ignorant of music can whistle or sing. That makes a popular song popular, and the time is coming when it will take the place of all other songs. I'm like, sir, it's been happening for that long. I feel bad.
Uh-huh.
You know? Yep, popular
Every
music.
every older generation thinks that the younger generation is just noise.
And even way back then.
Dude, from the
That
beginning.
would
Dude, reading, letter writing, it was all a fad that would never continue. Now we're sitting here sending each other's emails and doing videos and talking about things. So, yeah, this is a fad that wasn't supposed to continue.
mm-hmm.
I do know people though who still take the time to write each other letters, even though they could just call or visit because
Yeah.
they live, a couple, you know, 20, 30 minutes from each other, but they take the time to write each other letters and check up on each other. I think that's really cool.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing we should do. Write each other letters at one point. But that's for a later day.
Yeah,
Dude, okay. Yes?
I was gonna say I did that for a while with my ex. He was living out of state. I would write him a letter a week, and my grandmother, when she was getting older, I made sure I bought a bunch of different cards that were just like kind of plain. They had pretty pictures on them, but they weren't like they had no like designated purpose cards, and
Mm-hmm.
would send her at least a weekly card, just checking in, seeing how things are going, saying what had been going on during the week and stuff, just so she had, like it made her excited to check the mailbox. I think that's
Oh,
something
yeah.
that people should do more of. Except stamps cost a lot, but
Dude, yes. It is getting more expensive, and they're talking about next year the mail service not being able to work anymore, or it going from a federal institution to a private institution. So, yeah,
that would be very bad because it's supposed to be a public institution that's guaranteed in the Constitution.
it is supposed to, but that's just a conversation we are not going to continue. It is a bad place.
Yeah,
uh,
it's just
something
very
about mail.
personal to me.
Yeah, something about mail carriers. Our dear friend Rob Smales put up. He is a mail carrier, and keep an eye out if your post office worker's vehicle is just sitting somewhere for a while outside. Go take a peek and make sure they're okay because inside of those vehicles it said between 105 and 120 degrees, and they might just pass out during the
Yeah, the
summer.
older
So
vehicles have no AC whatsoever. It's like a hot box on wheels.
I can also say I've already been doing that. Every time I see one, I look to see if they're moving. I
yeah,
wave, and if they wave back, so I know they're at least acknowledging me. So we continue on.
yeah, because they have to put up with so much shit.
Oh yeah, I agree. And dude, we just had to change our whole entire system from a post office box to a mailbox, and they wanted to, and their system kept telling me that my address does not exist. So that was fun.
Take a
Ooh.
picture of yourself in front of the house. Hi.
Like the lady saw the mailbox. The mail carrier knows the mailbox is there, but the computer system does not agree we exist. And it's not the
What?
first time that they've received mail at this address.
Wow. I had someone once who never changed their mail delivery address, and then 6 months after they had moved to another state, they had had gone to live with their gal, and things fell apart between them. And he came back with a moving truck and was like, "I'm moving back in." We're like,
Hmm.
"What?" He's like, "I never changed my mail, so I'm still here." And we're like, "Mail doesn't work the same as a lease does. That's that's not." And he called the police on us and for not letting him just move in at like in the middle of the night. And the police were like, "Sir, I can have my mail delivered anywhere, but that doesn't guarantee that I live there. You can't do that." Although it's weird because to get on leases and some other things, you have to bring a piece of mail to prove that you live where you're at. So
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
how does that work?
Do the only other thing I'm going to say about that is be careful about if you have a person come into your house to give a service needed and they have to have your mailing address for their work. Make sure they're not having mail sent to your house trying to establish a residency through for other things. And if they do, report them. Report them to the company, report them to the mail service.
Yeah, that'd be
That's a new
weird.
issue I've not come across.
I've come across this and she did not, even my daughter was like, that person is not doing what we're paying them to do. And I'm like, yeah, I noticed. We are in the process of fixing it. And then we got her removed from the job she was doing. And then she tried to establish that she lived here.
No, you don't.
Mm-mm.
No. So she got reported to the company. She got reported to the post office, and but I'm like, this is a thing that happened to us, so I should let other people know. We have completely went off the rails.
I'm
Lessons
sorry.
from Friday.
Yeah, dude, it's the least X-rated lesson I've had to talk about with this group.
Yes, it is. I'm happy for you on that kind of because
I don't know how I became the teacher of those things.
I I am not sure either. It just happened. So yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
so we are getting to the hour and 15 mark. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your stories, guys? Let's start with Mike. Or your
Just
poems. Tell us
okay.
about your poems. You haven't told us about your poems. Please do that.
Okay, because I've never done poetry before, but I figured I'd try my hand at haiku because it's a real simple form to figure out. And since this is fairy tales with a twist, I just thought I'd try to make them fun and amusing. They're quick and short, so if you want me to read them, I will.
Oh, please do. I'm all for that.
yes, yes.
All right, I got two of them. The first one is Jane and the Beanstalk. Once again, I climb. At the top, the giant waits. He's a great lover.
Yeah, that one was unexpected.
That was the point. How can I tell a story in such a short time that will make people go like, "What the heck?" The second one, Goldilocks. Mama, Papa, Babe. This family of bears is great. They adopted me.
Aw,
Oh, that is the best ending so far I've ever heard to that one.
That's all.
I like those. Those are cute
Hmm.
and a little sassy.
Oh, yeah. He's good at sassy.
Cute. This I have discovered over the years. Yes. I I think I've chatted enough about my stuff. I don't, it's just a different way for me to play. So,
Did you guys have any questions about either of my story? Either of my poems or my story?
Well, where'd you get the idea for yours? Because that one got a little heavy too.
Well, yeah, it got heavy. Um, I have been the daughter of the person who died. So I used that concept and I'm like, what would the ending of Bill's stories be like? So I gave it a complete and total ending. But we also find out about what she loved when she was alive, about who surrounded her and what type, and a look into the life she had after the happily ever after began.
Yeah, like what kind of queen was she, basically?
Everybody loved her.
Mm-hmm.
She learned, she had the servants teach her things, and then she helped. She taught them things. It was, she wanted to complete life, so she decided to keep learning.
Very cool.
I
Yeah.
love that.
It's and that's important to not get to like have somebody who just keeps has that love of learning and of doing and of experiencing and of growing in their life, not just letting yourself get caught up in something. So there, just I'm in a rut, but I have been learning new things, but I hope that throughout the rest of my life I still continue to learn new things and all of the different things that I can. I've lost a lot of my uh, parental figures, well, my grandparents and such over the years, but I did get all of the lessons in, and I'm still getting new things that I'm learning from mom. But I'm like, there's a gap in the knowledge. There was always, if I wanted to know what this plant was, I always asked, you know, grandma. If I want to know what this bird was, I always asked papa. And now I can't do that anymore. So I've got to
Oh yeah.
learn like what all those things are now because somebody in the family has to be able to be the one that says that can answer that question for everybody. So
Oh yeah. I used death to get me out of my rut. Once I decided how would people die and what would happen when they die, I was able to write. I wrote at least 12 stories from that idea. So if you want to contribute a way of dying, just send me 100 ways to die. I don't know. There's so many tales that can come from this.
defenestration. That is my,
Defenestration, I'm gonna have to get you to text me that.
that is my favorite way to die, and it's why I love Prague. There were the three
Alrighty.
defenestrations of Prague. It's fun. Throw
Is
people out a
that?
window.
I was saying, like, I think I know what that word means, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, there's also a comic book character called the Defenestrator in a like humor comic, and he's this huge guy, like kingpin sized guy, who walks around with a window and just like breaks it over people so that he can't throw them through it. He just like pushes the window over them. He's part of Section 8, which is a little sidekick group from the Hitman comic. And
Oh, that's
I
weird.
I want to cosplay as like him sometime and just have like a window with like plastic obviously and not sharp like the bendable plastic that looks like a broken window and just walk around and like put it over people. You've been defenestrated.
I love that. I want pictures of that. I love your mind.
You are one of the few. Everybody
Your
else is like,
dreams have given me dreams that were weird. And like, that was so unlike any I've ever heard. I blame Carrie.
I happily accept blame for dreams. I do live there, so sometimes I send them out to people.
I'm like, how did that's not normally how I get to a restaurant in a dream. And it's like, okay, that has to be from her story.
Yep. Sorry, I do that. It spreads. You can't
That's
help it.
fine. It doesn't help that I keep re-listening to the things we've recorded of ourselves for the shows.
I
At
we
this point, that's a lot of material, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I well in that story, my dream one, the arcade thing, I've sent. I had my mom um listen. Well, I tried to get my mom. She won't listen to scary stuff because she wakes up with nightmares. But I was like, I used your nightmares in some of it because she was talking about like one of the dreams that she had. I'm like, oh yeah, and do you remember this part of your dream? And she's like, I told you about that. I'm like, I used it in one of my stories. She's like, wow. So
Dude, the different hauntings in the one I had published in the same book are from my mom.
gotta make sure they get passed on. If they aren't gonna write them down, damn it, we will.
It's not like she could at the time because so many things were happening that kept her from it. And I just said, you know what? I can remember these stories. I'm going to continue them.
And that's awesome. Being the voice is a very lofty responsibility, but
That's why I'm trying to get the stuff printed so the kids can go back and get the printed stories.
it's awesome.
Did you
I
guys have any other questions for each other or me?
Will this detective return in other stories that you wrote? Because he was hilarious. I was glad my mic was muted when you read that because I could not stop laughing.
That's why I muted you.
That was
um
some of the funniest things I've heard in a while.
yeah, Hans might make it back. There's another character I have who collects fairy creatures, not any specific story, but she might show up in some other things as well. Um, she's just like
Hey, can I
she's
get
the
my charger?
but I'm I think about it. It's a matter of is it going to be like they have to be as off the cuff kind of, to make
Oh,
it
yeah.
work. But I do think that having the woodcutter be more involved too would be fun.
That would rock.
Yeah. Have a whole little agency and every like hierarchy and different groups of things. That would be fun.
That would be awesome.
I just need
Okay.
time for rest. I don't.
Okay. I guess I am generally out of questions. I guess let's do where do you people want to be found?
Okay. Well, I'm
Or
on Facebook. Sorry.
you. Sorry.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Michael Guzman Author, and look at my main author page. Um, let me type this out so there'll be no doubts whatsoever. And that is my Blue Sky handle down there.
Okay. I will post it in the yeah, let's post at some point post the link into the chat of the video when we come back. Well, later. And then go from there.
Okay.
Because I didn't know who was coming, so I didn't put anybody's stuff in the where links go.
Show notes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
easy to fix.
he seems to be frozen. Are you
Yes.
still there, dude?
Michael.
Okay, until he comes back, where does Carrie want to be found?
Take the Lee out of this. This is what I publish under. Um, just go to Carrie Sanders on Facebook. If you see a judgmental crow, that is me. And I have an author
Hello?
page. I don't
Now you're
maintain it,
back, dude. Hold on a
but
second, Michael. Please
yeah.
continue.
Oh, all of my links are from there. But the only thing that I really keep up with is my Facebook, my regular Facebook page, because I I follow other people on things, and every now and then I'll post up announcements on stuff. But I've fallen out of the habit of that. I've tried to get a Substack thing going, kind of failed because I never write any updates or anything. But if you look at Carrie Sanders on Facebook, you can find me and find all my other stuff. It has links to Amazon and all that other thing, all of the things, all of the things. But I don't post on any of the other things. I just use them to follow people. And you
All
can
right.
also catch me every Tuesday night on Splash Pages, where we talk about
Yes.
comics and interview people. You can catch me sometimes on Wednesdays And Saturdays for interviews, you can catch me on Monday nights where we've been doing news and I have Carrie's crowdfunding corner that I do there. And if I have enough different crowdfunding projects, I will put something together and lead people through them. And I do Carrie's crowdfunding corner creator spotlight, where I bring on the people who are actually doing the Kickstarters or backer kits, Zoops, whatever they're doing. We talk about the project. We go through the crowdfunding section itself and all of the different reward tiers and add-ons, and just try to get people some extra stuff going there. I'll have one of those going next Wednesday. Um, so yeah, I'm on a lot, and we'll be doing some more Owlite things in the future. However, currently, um, Raz is not really doing very well, so we're waiting until everybody's healthy before we start doing things there again. So yeah, I that's why I don't write anymore. I'm just doing shows like 4 nights a week and preparing for stuff. So I just read now. I don't write. I don't have time. That's how you find me. And I
Awesome.
will try to say hello.
And you will try to what?
I will try to say hello. If you approach me and want to talk about something, I will try to get in contact with you. If you are not a real page, I will not. But if you have something that you would like me to read, oh, and I can't tell you who, but I'm really excited. I got asked to beta read for one of my heroes. Um, so I'll tell you about it after the show. But
Okay, that
I
sounds awesome.
yeah, that is something I'll put aside time for. But yeah, so I might be able to be doing that in the near future, and it'll be somebody that I'll have on eventually again because they have another Kickstarter that's going to be coming up. So yeah. And how about you, Friday? Where all do we find you, Miss Ma'am?
Um, I think he's still frozen. Well, I'm on everywhere. I'm randomly posting things in places. I've decided it's very hard to get a hold of people for like the 7, 8, whatever aspect. So I do random mini interviews lately where I post videos and people send me answering videos and I put them in random order and post them. At some point, I do need to get you to answer the videos that I have up, Carrie.
Okay.
And I am still at Faecore, publishing Faecore anthologies and Faecore poetry because my brain decided to compartmentalize everything because it felt like too much was going on the main channel. So that, and I think that's mainly what I do: Fae Speaks and Faecore and random other posts about my own stuff. And I write about death.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, either death himself or ghost stories lately. So yeah. And I need to figure out a pirate story at some point. Have you written a pirate story?
No, I have not, but I just interviewed somebody who wrote a vampire story.
That rocks.
Yeah, Fred Van Lente and Luca Pizzari are doing a comic that's getting released that's called Vampirates with a Y, and it's really
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. Hey,
I know
Mike.
people writing pirate
Can you
stories.
see? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay, I have no idea what the issue was.
I don't
I
either, but
apologize.
that's fine. And if you'll continue, Carrie, and then we'll ask him if he had any more links.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just saying I have a number of people that I know that do pirate stories. I've never gotten into a pirate story, but I can send you their way if you want to read more pirate stories.
Yeah, and then just tell them that we're doing an anthology if they'd like to put in a short story. That'd be great, or poem or something. But anyway,
Okay.
Mike, did you have any other stuff you wanted to add to where to find you?
I guess all the fake war stuff because I'm a member of that group, so that's another way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, but if you message Fake, or I will make sure he gets in touch with you.
Okay.
Okay, let's let's call this an ending, and then we will do other mini things later. We're going to play the ad thing because I forgot, and then do the outro. So yeah.
Hi, everybody.
That's the wrong one.